Hey, have you guys heard about the melting ice caps?
Yeah, I have, but is it really that important though?
Well, if we don't do something about it, we can have major issues.
Like what?
Like flooding and property damage.
And rising sea levels.
Yeah, that too.
I'm actually doing a project on this, and on this graph it says that from 1880 to 2020, the sea levels have risen by 9 inches.
I also heard that Greenland's ice is melting like 4 times as fast as it was in 2003. And this contributed to over 20% of our rising sea levels.
Yeah, and if all of Greenland's ice melts, the sea levels will rise about 20 feet.
That's insane. What damage have the rising sea levels caused so far?
Well, I read somewhere that many Arctic animals like polar bears and walruses are losing their homes.
It also causes us a big problem too.
How so?
The property damage will cost the US millions, if not billions of dollars, plus many homes in coastal states will be lost.
That's a lot of damage.
So not only will animals be losing their homes, we will too?
Exactly.
And so far, from 2005 to 2017, coastal states have lost around $16 billion. That's around $1.3 billion a year in just 12 years.
But like, how do the ice caps benefit us?
Don't ice caps keep our climate cool?
Yeah, so basically sea ice can reflect sunlight back into space, therefore making Earth a lot cooler.
Ah, got it.
Also, I heard that the Arctic is melting twice as fast as any other place on Earth.
Yeah, I did read somewhere that every 10 years, 10% of the Arctic ice melts.
So what's like even causing this? Is it like us? Are we the issue?
Well, our excessive use of fossil fuels is kind of detrimental to the ice caps.
Yeah, that is a big part of it.
I don't really understand it. Can you like explain it more?
Well, when we use fossil fuels, it releases harmful particles and greenhouse gases, like carbon emissions. These emissions trap heat, which causes the climate to slowly heat up.
But like, don't we basically rely on these fossil fuels?
Not exactly, we could find possible substitutes.
Like what?
How about wind or solar?
Those are really reliable sources. They're reliant on the weather, and we can't really control that.
They do work like they are a cleaner solution than fossil fuels, but might not be the best idea. They're inconsistent and most likely won't meet the demand people will have.
Well, what else can we do?
We need something that we can rely on.
We need something that's reliable, but just as good as fossil fuels.
How about nuclear energy?
Yo, that's it. But how safe is it though?
Well, the ratio of people who die from coal power plants is much higher than those who die from nuclear power plants.
There are around 9,000 coal power plants in the US, and they've resulted in 13,000 deaths. However, there are only 500 nuclear power plants, and they've only resulted in 10 deaths.
So you're telling me that there's more deaths in a coal power plant than a nuclear power plant?
Yeah, and there are way more too.
Nuclear power plants don't even release carbon into the air since they generate power by splitting uranium atoms. We'll have a much cleaner environment as a result.
I like the sound of that solution, but how does it work?
As he said, it comes from splitting uranium atoms in a process called fission. The heat from the splitting atoms generates energy.
The steam turns a turbine which is connected to a generator which creates electricity.
But won't that like be like a really big change? Because we rely on coal for almost everything.
Not at all. 20% of America's energy already comes from nuclear power.
Some states even generate more than 50% of their electricity from nuclear power.
So a cleaner environment, less deaths, and a more reliable source of energy? That sounds lit.
It's basically the perfect alternative.
With this change, we could look forward to a much cleaner and cooler environment in the future.
And no more destruction of homes for both us and the animals?
And less money wasted.
Wow. We did it, guys. We saved the Earth.